pleasant good morning, one and all. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Monday, the 29th day of April 2024. Welcome, one and all. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you're prepared for a productive week. Welcome. Share the live, let people know that we're on. I noted with some amount of pleasure that the schoolyard was packed this morning when we scheduled it very early this morning, just about 6 o'clock. And immediately the students were packed in the yard and waiting for this program. So yes, it's always good. As we say, when you come on, share the live, give us our thumbs up, show your appreciation, and we are going to get going in a short while. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio, waiting anxiously to impart knowledge. So, yes, here we are, Monday, the 29th day of April, 2024. Share the live, and let's don't be selfish. Let's share the life. It's good to be in the land of the living. You know, you have to always celebrate and say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it and give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. So many persons would not have been this fortunate. So yeah, we need to celebrate every day. We need to celebrate. We need to give thanks. We need to give praise. And also we need to show our appreciation by giving us a thumbs up. Again, I remind you that for those people who come on YouTube very early and they make the comments, you're able to do so because you have subscribed to the channel, and you get the notification when the program is scheduled, and you can come on immediately on the program. And for those people who are on Facebook, you have to wait until we go live at 11 before you get the opportunity to make your comments, which you do so frequently and readily. So yes, share the live. And again, I encourage you, subscribe to the channel on YouTube and like the page on Facebook. It's by the same name. If you don't know, if you go to Facebook, you search Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, the page is going to come up. You like the page. The same thing, you go to YouTube, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, you type that in, it comes up, and you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and you will get the notification whenever a program or any clip is posted on the channel. You will get the notification. So please do that. You will also contribute to making the channel even more popular. The popularity is growing remarkably, and we thank you for whatever contribution you may make towards that growth. So yes, here we are once again, the start of our new working week. So share the live, let people know that we're on. Looking at the numbers are already mounting rapidly. That is those who are on Facebook, mounting rapidly, and we very much appreciate that. You know, the usual format, we normally do the roll call, we make the announcements, and then we go into the main issues. But now we understand that roll call is important. As I've said, you don't just jump into teaching, and this is a part of the method of instruction. You don't just start off the class right just like that. You have to have icebreaker. We use the roll call and other stuff as the icebreaker, and then you move into the program. Also, the roll call gives those who are not here at 11 an opportunity. So actually, even though we start at 11, the main thing about 10 minutes after, then we get into the meat of the program for the day. And again, if you miss anything, go on YouTube, go on Facebook, everything is there. Someone told me yesterday that, and he's a regular in the program, I think he's on here now, he told me that he has been looking back from program 1 coming forward, because he's still finding things so interesting. So some of them he might have missed the live, so he is looking back. I encourage you, all of you to do that. You can pick whatever episode you want and to look back. So yes, now let me do the roll call, and then we're gonna go into the subject. When we scheduled just about 6 this morning, we scheduled just before 6. The first person to come on, the name is not shown there now because it is dropped off, is Wayne. Wayne came on at 5:55 this morning. I made a note. After Wayne, then we had Ruth. She came next. She was at 5:57. Denise came. I know she came off and she came back on. Then we had out of the UK Wayne. And from New York, Sean, ex-Sergeant Rabindranath is here. Jakey from Maryland is on. Then we have the organized chaos. Organized chaos came on at exactly 6 a.m. Then John came at the same, well, 1 minute after. Carlton, sorry, my squad mate. Then we had from Paris, Clifton. He came on at 6:06 this morning. Then Everett. Everett is making some very good observations here. Thank you very much, my brother. He came on at 6:08. Winston, and Everett is from Texas. Winston from California. He came on at 6:08. Vibart is in the US. He came on after. Then we have, this is a new one. I can't recall seeing this one before. Delta 9 Media. Delta 9 Media came on next. Then Magnell, Anthony, followed by Gary, followed by Tessa I from Florida. Then Debbie is here next. Then Lucius came, Ian came in. Then we had Denise, Debbie, Patricia from New Jersey, Terrence King from California, 9135 TK, welcome. Then we had Joan. After Joan was followed by Fergus. Then after Fergus, we had Orin. Orin says his number was 758. I remember Orin. Then Evelyn, Kenneth, and Kenneth is from Maryland. Malcolm came next, and this is Malcolm Robinson because there's another Malcolm on the program. Brian, and then Courtney DeSaules from New Jersey came in. Then we have Como, he's the next New Jersey man, ex-police 8218. Carlisle, next. Sherwin, Colin from New Jersey. A lot of people from New Jersey are on the program. Welcome, you guys. Mary is here from Brooklyn. Earl came in. Then after Earl, we have David, Matthew, Pauline, and Matthew's from the West Bank. Pauline came in after that. Paul from Canada, Paul Archer from Canada. Then we have Ulrich from West Dem, Crane. Then next in class was Speaking Truth to Power. Clive came in next. Clive from the UK, my countryman came in. Then we had Gordon, followed by Cecile. Then Jacko from Georgia. Barlett from the Hills in Linden. He was next. Clay. Then Robbie came in after that. My old lecturer at UG. Then Trotty came in. Then BX from New Jersey came in next. The one and only Charles Goodman, 9407, popular promoter, and my squad mate. Then Princess from Lamar Springs. After Princess, we had Felicia, followed by Monica. And Monica is from Friendship on the east coast of Demerara. Then we had Melissa, Floyd, Jean came in and says she's waiting for the valuable information. Heather, Dexter, Rastaman, Francis from Melanie Damashana. Pamela, she says raining on the west side where she's from. Then Winston from the UK. Sandrine. After Winston, we had Sandrine. Then another person from the UK, Lynette. Then Joseph. Danny is here with us. Ex-detective, very knowledgeable police. Desiree is here. And Desiree's from Georgia. Emerson is from Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan. Doreen, my squad mate from New Jersey, is here as well. Sandra, followed by Rhonda. And this is Rhonda Chance. Followed by Maureen, Duhan, Clarence. Then we have Anne. My squad mate, Carl from Arizona, is here with us, 9414. Then Morton is in class. Camille, Anthony Bradshaw, the man from Petersall on the East Bank, 11032. Ulrich, my squad mate from Barbados, 9555. Then we have Michael Richardson, followed by Glendis, followed by Charles, and this is Charles Fredericks, waiting for instruction classes, he said. Marcus, Tilula, Family Music, followed by Lynette. Then we have Thomas Brown. Thomas, I remember you, 10559 Brown, good detective. Don is here in class. Then Michael, 14126 Brower is in class. Then Tia Ben, 123 is here. Brennan is in class. Lorraine, followed by Ronald, followed by uh, Terrence Young. This is the next Terrence. He is from New Jersey, Canada. Sorry, he's from Canada. 9795. Then we have Dylan. Um, then followed by after Dylan, it was Bonita. Bonita from West Coast, Borbees. Bart came next, followed by Marcia, followed by Derek. McCalmon this time. McCalmon, Derek. Godfrey came in. After Godfrey, we have Raul. Then Queenie. Marcus came. Then we have Aubrey. Aubrey is a man from Toronto, 9053. Marcus came next. Setred, followed by Dennis. Then he was followed by Isabella, followed by Karen. And Karen, Karen came in what time? Karen came in at 10:32. Devian took a look in. Then another Malcolm, followed by Chilo is in house. Denise came back. Then we have Sharon, Pauline, Carol, Gordon from Canada, Shemlin, Fort Welly, followed by Marcia. And then when we went live, those are the people on who was there on YouTube very early. And then when we went live, the first person on Facebook was Edward, followed by Raul, followed by Carlton, Regina, Errol Short, and then the list goes on, Brandy, Faye, and the list goes on and on and on. Again, I say the roll call serves to allow people to join and to tell you that when we said a lot of people are there sitting waiting for the class to start, we're not bluffing anyone. We're not making these things up. It is a fact. We're providing you with the evidence. So that is it for the roll call. Let me make some quick announcements before I bring in my colleague. You know, we always say we start with these sad announcements. And the sad announcement today is the death of Woman Corporal 19469 Charles. Woman Corporal 19469 Charles of the Guyana Police Force passed away recently. And I want to express condolences to the members of the Guyana Police Force and the family and friends of the late Woman Corporal Charles. I understand she had some health challenges and she passed away a few days ago. Then in terms of birthday greetings, belated birthday greetings to Sergeant Lavon Jack, 16183, I think was her number. She worked with me in Borbees. I remember her very well. 16183. She celebrated a birthday recently. Also celebrating a birthday recently was Yvette Sanko, a retired officer. I think she retired as a deputy superintendent. I'm not sure, but she celebrated a birthday recently. So I want to wish happy birthday to all those persons who celebrated recently, and for those who I have missed as well. So not only those that we announced, those who I have missed as well. Happy birthday to all you people. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're gonna move on. I'm sure my colleague is gonna want to. Welcome.
Morning. Thank you. Happy to be in the land of the living. And birthday greetings to Laverne, Yvette, and also my friend. I think he's on the live there, but he hardly comments. A guy called Daniel Corbin, a Lindenor. And I remember when I was commander of division, he was an excellent driver. We really use up the road from Linden to Latem, going to from Latem to Anai, Latem to Karasabai, Latem to Shelton. And I always remember a story that I always tease him about where we were going, I think, about 2:30 in the morning, and at the Maburu Road, there was a labo strolling across, not running across, strolling across the road. I said, Carbon, look a labo there. And Carbon missed the labo with the vehicle. And he had the temerity to come out the vehicle and looking for the labo. I say, you don't hear any sound or anything, man. You missed the labo. So I always tease him. So happy birthday, Daniel. And I know there are many, many more birthdays for it to come. And Paula, I just want to back you up in terms of the roll call, because the roll call is important, I remember my mentor, the late and great educator Samuel Small, used to say, hey, that you have a threesome: introduction, body, conclusion. say what you want to say it, say what you have said. Then he used to say, tell them what you want to tell them what, tell them and tell them what you told them. And he always used to say also is that, you from the beginning you promote and maintain the desire to learn. But more on that maybe in a subsequent program dealing with the methods of instruction. But happy to be in the land of the living, and let's do God's work.
Yeah, happy to be in the land of the living. And you're correct, I mean, once you did method of instructions, as you and I did, and many others, you're taught that when you are going to teach a subject, you don't just come in and right away you're going to the subject. You have to relax the class. You have to have what we call icebreakers. Even when I was in police staff college in the UK, that was something that was instilled in us. If you go into the library there, they have many, many, many games there for you to introductory games at the start of the class, and you dare not commence a lecture or a presentation without doing that icebreaker. That was start. So I am accustomed to that. You do the icebreaker, and after the icebreaker, then you move into the subject. And in our case, because we are virtual, we give people an opportunity to log on. We give them an opportunity to log on. And somebody commented here to say that you should subscribe. Those of you who have not subscribed, as I've been saying, subscribe. Also, give us the thumbs up. Many people have not. Only about what? We just have a few dozen thumbs up. When we have hundreds and hundreds of persons on the live. So give us the thumbs up. Give us the thumbs up. I see Daniel came on, CC, and Daniel saying he said something. The things are coming so rapidly that I missed what he said. But Daniel did make a comment on the program a while ago. Well, let me move into the meter today. So we have so much to talk about. We have so much, like every day. But today, more than most days, we have a lot. So we're going to go into it right away. Last Wednesday, when we had the program, I told you that that Justice Gino Prasad, the judge who presided in the case of the Police Service Commission initially, versus the president and others, when they suspended the Police Service Commission, of which I was the chairman, and Mr. Conway was a member. You got to bear with me. I got to keep you up to date. Because the final decision, if you recall, an oral decision was delivered on March 24th last year. And then only Tuesday gone, that is Tuesday, the 23rd of April, the final written decision was handed down. So this is the final written decision was handed down last Tuesday. So I feel compelled to bring you, because this is not only deal with the issues, but it also dealt with cost. And quickly, let me run through it. First of all, I want to remind you that the president suspended the Police Service Commission, of which I was the chairman, on the 16th of June, 2021. We challenged that because we knew that it was unconstitutional. So we challenged it. And we were ably represented by attorney out of Canada, Mr. Selwyn Peters, later joined by Mr. Dexter Todd and Mr. Dexter Smart. And we got, how should I describe it? Excellent professional representation from those persons. And I want to again take this opportunity to thank them wholeheartedly for the sterling job they did. Because you know what they did there? They were able to take on the Attorney General with the old state apparatus behind him, and they won. They took on, or we took on, the Attorney General and the state apparatus and won. A lot of people have cases, but they are afraid to challenge it and to take it to court. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid. I was always confident that given the Constitution and given what took place, that we would have won the case. So we did win. And as I said last Tuesday, the judge delivered the final written ruling. And some of the things he said, quickly, I'm going to run through it. Let me just say what he's saying. He said, look, on March 23rd, an oral ruling was delivered on the merits of the case after several interlocutory applications and rulings on one unsuccessful appeal and one unsuccessful appeal to the full court. The formal judgment collates the reasons for the several rulings in one document and also contains a final cost order following written submissions by the parties. And then he says, this was a challenge by way of judicial review of a decision of His Excellency, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, to suspend the chairman and members of the Police Service Commission on 16th of June 2021. Then the oral ruling delivered on 16th of September 2021 on the removal of the president as a named party to the proceedings. The oral ruling delivered on the 9th of March 2022 following an application by the Attorney General that the matter should be discontinued. The oral ruling delivered on 2nd of December 2022 following an application on behalf of the newly constituted Police Service Commission to discontinue the proceedings. This was accompanied by an oral application for a stay in the proceedings. On July 19, 2021, the PSC instituted proceedings in the High Court to challenge the decision of the President to suspend the Police Service Commission, which he did by way of letter dated 16th of June 2021. Now, quickly, what he's saying here, once this matter was filed, the Attorney General filed a motion to have the President removed, because when we filed, we had the President as a respondent. That was challenged successfully by the Attorney General, and the court ordered that the President name should be removed because he enjoys constitutional immunity. And the judge awarded costs to the Attorney General in the sum of $200,000. In other words, we got to pay the Attorney General $200,000 for that part of the matter. Then he concluding remarks. Let me go on to this way. He said concluding remarks and disposition. In summary, therefore, the decision of His Excellency the President to suspend the chairman and members of the Police Service Commission was A, unlawful, B, ultra-virus, Article 225 of the Constitution, C, arbitrary, D, unreasonable, E, unfair, F, in violation of the suspended chairman commission's constitutional right to the protection of the law and due process of the law, and G, null, void, and of no legal effect. Then for disposition, listen carefully what he said about disposition. I want to understand this. It is hereby ordered and declared that the judgment be and is hereby granted in favor of Paul Slow as prayed for in Para 1 of the fixed date application in the following terms: that the suspension of the chairman and members of the Police Service Commission, namely Chairman Paul Sloat, CCH, DSM, JP, Commissioners Michael Summersall, CCH, DSM, JP, Mrs. Claire Alexis Jarvis, Mrs. Vesta Adams, and Mr. Clinton Andrew Conway from performing the functions of their respective offices in the Commission, which His Excellency the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana did by way of letter dated 16th of June 2021, were contrary to, in violation of, and ultra-virus the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and in particular Article 225.6 and 210.3, and therefore of no force and effect. In terms of cost, I am awarding costs according to the court's discretion. Taking into consideration, this is a judicial review application, and there is a public interest dimension to this. I also took into consideration the following factors. A, His Excellency the President was incorrectly named as a respondent in the fixed date application. The AG filed a notice of application to have him removed on the grounds of constitutional immunity from suits. There were arguments and a ruling on this issue, and the Executive President was ordered removed as a respondent. Costs were awarded to the AG in the sum of $200,000. B, Paul Slow was not properly advised to institute a fixed date application in the name of the Police Service Commission, given the factual suspension and the obvious reality that the end of the 3-year was imminent. The commissioners should have filed in the individual names. C, the respondents unreasonably pursued several interlocutory applications, such as A, AG notice of application on 17th of September 2021 to strike out the substantive action, which was unsuccessful, even on appeal to the full court. On 5th of July 2022, a newly appointed Police Service Commission filed a notice of application to wholly withdraw and discontinue the substantive action. This was also unsuccessful. C, Application for a stay of the proceedings by the AG and Mr. Ramdani for the new PSC, pending the outcome of an appeal from a ruling of the Chief Justice in the R.B. Norton versus AG. This was also unsuccessful. In addition to the above, I have considered course order previously made and the novelty of and importance of the issue as a public law matter, grounded in the principle of fair and rational decision making, the public interest, and upholding the rule of law. In the circumstances, I find the sum of $500,000 to be reasonable, and I do so order costs in the sum of $500,000 to be paid by the Attorney General to Paul Slow within 8 weeks hereof. So within 8 weeks of the 23rd of April, the AG has been ordered to pay Paul Slow. I wonder who is he? I'll go see for know him. $500,000. So according to the ruling, the fact that the AG won the application to have the president removed as a respondent, Paul Slow got to pay the AG $200,000 because we lost that part of it. The other parts that we won, the total cost to be paid, the cost account to the judge is $500,000. So I guess we got to do some maths there. Look, when the AG won one aspect and we ordered to pay $200,000. We won about 4 to 5 aspects, including the matter that go to the that the AG took to the full court. But we are only getting $500,000. I'm not gonna say like the vice president, and I'm not gonna bash the judge to say that he's presumptuous or anything like that. I accept fully the ruling of the judge in the matter. As he says, the public law of public interest. The president was wrong. The president is not a king. The president can't violate the Constitution, which he did. And the code so ruled. Now, you recall, before I bring in Mr. Conway to comment on this, the Attorney General did indicate when the oral ruling was handed down on the 24th of March that he intends to appeal the matter. Well, that is his modus. He appeals and he can appeal because at the end of the day, it's not e-money. And one of the things I want you to know, this $500,000, well, basically is a net $300,000. It's not the Attorney General paying it. It's you, the taxpayers, have to pay it. It's you, the taxpayers, have to pay this $300,000. And that is part of the problem. That is part of the problem. So I said to you, I give you a quick breakdown, a quick synopsis as to what took place. I don't know. Somebody had asked last week if these rulings are available in the on the high court virtually on the website. I don't know. But as a party to this whole proceedings, a copy was sent to me, and I have a copy. I've read the entire thing because I've been following very closely. My lawyer told me several times, or my several lawyers, that I am one of the most engaged clients they have ever had. Yeah, it is in my interest. So I've been engaging in all the matters I have been engaging. So this one, or at least this aspect of it, has come to an end. But let me say this. The AG can appeal this all the way to the CCJ. And there's not a ghost of a chance that he is going to succeed. He's just doing things for public consumption and to try to save face. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway, I did send you a copy of the ruling, and I know that you have been following it as well. Your comments, please.
Well, first I must say that you were bold enough to challenge the decision of the president on our own behalf. Although we didn't join you, but we were there supporting you, and we had excellent lawyers. We had Mr. Peters, and we had Dexter Todd and Dexter Smart. Selwyn Peters, and they did excellent work. And I agree with the ruling of the judge. The part that we could have taken the president to court, but the other parts we fully agree with. And I think it's high time that persons, challenge the decision of certain government, challenge them. I remember Ashton Chase boreholes in the Constitution and in the labor matter. So the president isn't God, or the Attorney General isn't God, and he put the president in the sauce, and he's going to try again. I think he's going to go to the CCJ to get that order change. But I think the judge's decision is very, very sound, and we agree with it. And as I mentioned, that it's time that persons, be bold enough like you, and challenge the decision of the court. If you feel that it's wrong, go to court. And no, and when this is made, don't be like the president, and also to bash the ruling of the judge. If the first vice president doesn't agree, let him go to court. No, don't stay at this press conference and also to bash the decision of the judges. Go to court, go to the appeal court, go to the CCJ, and what's everything. Abide by it. So I wish to thank you, Paul, because you were there and you were very bold enough to challenge the decision, and you were vindicated.
Yeah, well, let me make one correction. You said the first vice president. I noted Christopher Ram
Second,
made a similar mistake in, I think, a letter in today's Sabrok News. Bharat Jagdeo, according to the Constitution, is the second vice president. Constitution says that the prime minister is the first vice president. Prime minister and first vice president. So I know it's a slip of the tongue, not the fault of the mind, but I just want to correct that. And let me say this before we move on. In this same matter, this same challenge to the unlawful suspension of the Police Service Commission, all this sand dancing that the Attorney General did, they never sought to say that the president followed the Constitution. They admitted, in essence, that the Constitution, or there was Article 225 in particular, wasn't followed. But they claim what the doctrine of necessity. They tried to create the impression that the situation was so grave, that this commission that I chaired was so rogue, that they had to intervene and to circumvent the Constitution. That was basically the argument. And they got Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, to lie in an affidavit, to say things, to try to buttress that argument that they made. They got the chairman of the police, not the chairman, the secretary of the Police Service Commission, Jai Gobind Jai Singh, to lie in affidavit, to try to create this impression that the commission was such a rogue commission that it was necessary for the president to violate the Constitution to get rid of the Police Service Commission. And again, the question was, the 16th of June, the letter states the suspension, and the commission life was to end on the 8th of August, a mere 50-something days down the road. So why would you violate the Constitution openly and plainly to get rid of a Police Service Commission 59 days before the life would have automatically ended? All because they did not want us to be there, because I had stood up on behalf of the commission and tell the president, no, certain people cannot be promoted under the rules because they are pending disciplinary matters. Brutus, Karim Bash, Jupiter, Shiv Prasad Bacchus, Stanley, Prem Narayan, they all are pending disciplinary matters. And these are not rules that I or this commission that I chaired made. There were rules there before, and we decided we're going to follow. Now, the president wasn't pleased with that. So they decided they were going to suspend the commission. And again, you have to look at this thing carefully. The 16th of June is when they rush to suspend the commission unlawfully and unconstitutionally. When the Chief Justice was due to rule in the challenge brought by Brutus on the 18th of June, and I say this again, they knew that the decision would have gone against them, and therefore they went, according to the Attorney General, what he just used this phrase, they went with breakneck speed to suspend the commission before the 18th of June. The ruling did not come down on the 18th of June. It was put after the 28th of June. So the records are there, the date and everything are there. And CC, thank you. Well, let me tell you something. I have never been afraid to speak the truth. I have never been afraid to speak the truth or to speak truth to power and to stand up for what I believe to be right. And this is not only this incident. People will recall the incident with the same vice president when he was president, ordering me to apologize to Ronald Gadraj, the corrupt Ronald Gadraj, who wanted me to return a firearm to a businessman during the course of an investigation. I said, no, I was not going to do that. They attempted to remove me out of the force. Y'all don't remember these things? They give me letter, I have all of those letters transferring me or moving me to the Financial Investigating Unit, a unit that had never been established even though it was passed in Parliament. And I went to court. I got Rex McKay, and we went to court. And do you know, in that matter where we went to court, they never filed a defense. McDonald was the man who's sitting in the commission chair, never filed a defense. I had to go to court and discontinue the proceedings once McDonald was removed. Once he went into retirement, I went to court and discontinued that proceedings because the order from the court was that they should not move me, or they cannot move me from Borbies. And the new commissioner, Felix, I wanted to give him that flexibility to send me wherever he wanted to send me. So I withdrew the matter. They never challenged it. Do Not Singh was the Attorney General, never ever challenged the action that I brought against the commissioner and them. So yeah. I've said enough. Let me move on. CC, well, I don't know if CC wants to say anything further than that. Do you?
No, I think we have said enough. We have said enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say again, thank you, and thanks all the members, because yes, even though I was at the forefront, the members, other members of the commission were fully behind me, and members of the public too. Members of the public too were behind me. I got overwhelming support from the members of the public. So yes, I did what I did, and I will continue to speak truth to power. Now let me go on to the next matter. I saw. Let me start out by congratulating the Guyana Police Force, congratulating officers and ranks of the Guyana Police Force, especially those who were involved in this operation, I should say, and in recovering this money that was stolen at the Chedi Jagan International Airport. Let me read quickly what transpired, and then we're going to analyze this. Police recover airport passengers stolen 5,500 US in Borbies. The Chedi Jagan International Airport is pleased to announce the successful recovery of US $5,500 for a passenger. And then it goes on to say, upon arrival in Guyana on April 18, 2024, this passenger, they mentioned her name, but I'm not going to be that irresponsible and mention the person's name, reported the missing money. The CJIA Security Department promptly reviewed CCTV footage and identified a passenger who had picked up a package that had fallen from this other passenger. The airport security team shared their findings with the Guyana Police Force, leading to the swift location of the passenger who took the money to Borbies. Following thorough questioning, the police managed to recover the full sum of money, which was then returned to this other passenger. The passenger expressed her heartfelt appreciation for the dedicated professional efforts of the CGIA security staff and the Guyana Police Force. Then there's a chairman of the CGIA board lauded the airport security team and the Guyana Police Force for their outstanding work. Now, let me say congratulations to them in doing that work. But I have a few questions for them. I want to know, why wasn't the person from whom this money was recovered charged with larceny? Why? This is the case, according to the report, according to them, this thing might have fallen at the airport from this incoming passenger. It would appear another passenger saw it, pick it up, and traveled all the way to Borbies from Timeri Airport with this $5,500 US. They did good work. They went there. I guess they saw the ED farm and saw where this passenger live and all of that. They went there. They got the money recovered. Kudos to them. Good work. But then what happened to the other part of it? Why wasn't this person charged with larceny? And let me read the definition. Well, not read. Let me recite the definition for you. I said read because I'm not reading it. I have it locked away in here since 1974 when I joined the force. It said larceny. A person steals who, without claim of right, takes and carries away anything capable of being stolen, with intent at such time of taking, permanently to deprive the owner thereof. Let me read that again and again for this younger policeman. I'm going to go into the definition along with Mr. Conway. They say a person steals who, without claim of right, made in good faith, takes and carries away anything capable of being stolen, with intent at such time of taking, permanently to deprive the owner thereof. I don't have to read that. I was taught that since 1974 when I was a recruit in the police training school, and I remember it. And every single police should know the definition of larceny, among other things. And before I bring Mr. Conway, let me break it down a little bit to you. That's the definition for larceny. And there are several types of larceny. I'm going to ask Mr. Conway to go into it. Now, the first thing we say, a person steals without claim of right. So you have no claim of right to this property. And the claim of, without claim of right made in good faith. And when we say claim of right, what do you mean? Many times you might have heard cases where a person owes someone. Let me say you owe a man money and you ain't paying. So this man go and pick up some property belonging to you and say, well, look, I'm taking this because you owe me. In other words, he is claiming, he's trying to establish a claim of right to this property. Whether it is good faith or not, that's another question. So without claim of right, made in good faith. And then they said takes and carries away. Takes, you have to take it and you have to carry away. And no, let me tell you something. When I was thinking, when we did this in training school, there's an aspect to the carry away that tell you asportation. You have to know what is asportation. Because they say, when you talk about carried away or takes and carries away, they tell you if it's a thing, if it's something that is attached. Only if it is completely detached, then it is carried away. And they used to use it as an example back in the day. Them men used to get a little watch in, men used to get a watch or a little this in a pocket, and the watch is attached to the clothing by a chain. And they used to tell you that if the person snatches that, and the chain is broken, then it is carried away. But if in the attempt it is not completely detached, then it is not carried away. Then you get them for attempt at the offense, attempt larceny. So all of these things takes and carries away. Something capable of being stolen, and they tell you too, something that is capable of being stolen must have a value. Must have a value. And you would note, policemen, that when you charge larceny, other offenses too, when you charge larceny, you have to attach a value to the item that was stolen. You have to say, the man thief a bottle of drink, value so much. He stole a cell phone, value so much. You have to put the value of the article to establish that this thing is something that have value, right? So the thing have to have value, and then, they say with intent at such time of taking, permanently to deprive the owner thereof. Permanently to deprive. So when you take it, is that borrow, you're borrowing it. And in this case, this woman passed all them police stations and all of those places and go all the way to Borbies. So it was clear. When I said woman, the person, I'm not sure if it's a woman. So therefore, it is clear that they had no intention to return it. It is clear that the intention was to permanently deprive the owner of this $5,500. Yes, Ulrika, coming to that. And then you have to look at the two main, all crimes. All crimes have two elements. All crimes have two elements. The act, the guilt, the actus reus, that's the act of taking the thief in, and the state of mind, the mens rea. You must establish that. And then, as some people are saying here, I don't know if the police if they're teaching these policemen these things. So even if, and that is why it is possible to be charged with larceny, because even if it's a case where they want to claim that they found this item, and a lot of the old policemen are complaining that no, Edward, is not daily. This is larceny. You could get if larceny by finding. Larceny by finding a limit. And we say larceny by finding. In America, they say theft by finding. And here what the thing says, theft by finding. They said the classic case, they say finders keepers. No. Finders keepers don't work. They said because if you find an item, you have to make reasonable, that is the law. If you find an item, you have to make reasonable efforts to locate the rightful owner to return the property. And if you fail to do so, you are guilty of an offense. In other words, I say if you find someone's property and then makes no attempt to find the real owner or inform law enforcement, but rather keep the property, you can face a larceny by finding charge. Yes, there is such a charge, police, and other people, civilian people who are watching on to this program, there is a charge called larceny by finding. Larceny by finding. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on what I've said, and I'm sure Mr. Conway can tell us about some other types of larceny. CC, I outlined what transpired at the CGA. Good work by the police to go all the way to Barbies and recover this property, but the follow-up action seems to be poor. Your comments?
Yeah, and like you, in 1973, I learned the definition for larceny, and I have it in my head. A person steals who fraudulently and without a claim of right made in good faith takes and carries away anything capable of being stolen with intent at the time of taking permanently to deprive the owner thereof. And there are some elements there. It must have ownership. It got to get value. And as you mentioned, aspiration, removal from the point where it was to somewhere else then. And things that abandon, well then they don't have value, they don't have ownership, we abandon, you don't want it anymore. But this is a lovely case, and prompt and intelligent work done by CGIA, and maybe I don't know if it was the police from Borbies or if it's the police from headquarters. But the thing is that here, there's it. You recover 5,500 US, and excellent work being done. And I always believe in reward and punishment. Excellent work being done. When the police do nonsense, you you put them in front of the court. But now here's a case of excellent work, prompt and intelligent work, and not a word about the persons involved, the recovery of this item. And there are several forms of larceny: larceny by finding, larceny by clerk or servant, simple larceny, pedo larceny, and you can go over the whole gamut of a larceny. Excellent work and nothing. And I believe in dealing with rewards and punishment. I remember the words of the late Bill Clinton. Oh, not the late, sorry, I ain't kill that. Let me don't kill him. The former President Bill Clinton, when Timothy McVeigh and his partner bombed Oklahoma City, the state building, the president said, "The action that we'll take shall be swift, certain, and appropriate." And I love those words. And those are the words that I used to deal with when dealing with the rewards and punishment. It got to be swift, it got to be certain, and it's got to be appropriate. And with Timothy McVeigh, shortly after, they held him. And they held him as a result of a traffic accident, a traffic issue. And you got to believe that. And I always believe that big criminals will commit minor offenses, and sometimes then is when you will get them. And in Timothy McVeigh, swift, certain, and appropriate. They charged him, they arrested him shortly after the event for a traffic offense, and he was charged appropriately, and their punishment was appropriate: death by lethal injection. So I'm saying is that when persons do good work, they must be rewarded. And those persons who do work, their names should have been splashed around the news media, in the television, in the newspaper. But there's it: excellent, prompt, and intelligent action taken, and not a word. We don't know who were the persons who did those prompt and intelligent work. So the thing is that you need to reward and you need to punish, but it must be swift, it must be certain, it must be appropriate. And those were the words of Bill Clinton. Although I can remember they read a commandment to him, thou shalt not put thy rod on thy staff. I think that was the 11th commandment.
Well said, well said. I don't know where you just find these things from, but well said, well said. Now let me say this. I see someone saying here, someone commented about the value. Yeah, the value of the property stolen will determine whether it's a summary charge or whether it's an indictable charge. That is the value of the property. In this case, 5,500 US dollars, over $1 million Guyana dollars, clearly indictable charge. Clearly indictable. And as we said, you can charge indictable, can apply the Administration of Justice Act for summary disposal. But but nothing. And Mr. Conway mentioned larceny by clerk or servant. And I want to tell the policemen who are here, what are the things, especially detectives, when you talk about larceny by clerk or servant, closely akin to that is embezzlement. Embezzlement. And you have to know the difference between larceny by clerk or servant or embezzlement, right? And quickly, let me give you a quick rough thing about it. Larceny by clerk or servant is when the property, let me say you're cashier, you take in the money, you enter it into the books and so on, and then you thief it. So it's larceny by clerk or servant. But if you, before entering the money into the records and so on, you thief it, then that is embezzlement. So you have to understand these subtle differences if you are a police. You have to understand the differences. And somebody mentioned larceny by Bailey. Larceny by finding and larceny by Bailey, two different offenses. Two different, as we explained, larceny by finding. If you find and you make no reasonable efforts to find or to identify the owner, then you can be charged with larceny by finding. In the case of larceny by Bailey, is when property is entrusted to you and you thief the property. For example, the example that is commonly used, you give somebody, let me say, your cell phone to repair. So it is entrusted to them. They become a Bailey. Temporary ownership, or well, not ownership, temporary possession of. And the thief it larceny by Bailey. So we got to understand, the policemen in particular have to understand, the commanders, and that is one of the problems you have. Because they don't know these things, every single thing is sent to the DPP. Every single thing that's sent to the DPP, because these things that we were taught to be basic and routine, we were taught as policemen, so that when we became commanders, we knew the difference of these things and we could have recognized immediately when you read the statement and you read the report what offense was established. But you don't have that now. So every single thing goes to the Director of Public Prosecution. If you remember, with the Daramlal case, I think it was, when the DPP said they get thousands of cases to deal with, and she was making the office was making some lame excuse in a press release. And perhaps that's why, because a lot of things that should never see the desk of the DPP gets there. And let me remind you that the protocol is, at least it used to be when I was in the force, that all files going to the DPP, well, even before it gets to the DPP, a file has to pass through, a crime file that we're talking about here, has to pass through, in many cases, the subdivisional officer. Then it goes to the divisional detective officer. These are very many layers. Then it goes to the divisional commander. Then it goes to the crime chief. And then before, the crime chief is the one who sends it on to the DPP. So you have all of these layers to detect whether this thing is properly put together or not. And it passes through all of them, get to the DPP, and in any case, the DPP got to send it back. And we have all of these mistakes. All of these mistakes. So let's understand this clearly. Now let me move on to the next matter. Now, I read in the 25th news source, one of the most reliable, let me big up my friend Gordon Mosley. He's one of the most reliable journalists here, along with like Travis Chase and things. When you hear them say something, you can believe it because they do the research and they bring it to you correctly. He wrote here to say, and this thing says here, guns from 2 security companies seized following deadly shootings by guards. Ben urges retraining of armed guards. This is news source on the 25th of April, 2024. Let me read part. A number of weapons belonging to Cerebus Security Company and OP Security Services were seized by the Ghana Police Force after 24-year-old Ashanti Liverpool and 19-year-old Jared Jagnan were killed by 2 security guards in separate incidents. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson told reporters today, that's the 25th, that following the deadly shootings last month, he ordered that the weapons in the possession of the 2 security firms be seized and all security officers within those firms be retrained. And he's quoted there saying, in both cases, we require retraining. And the immediate response was the taking away of weapons. And we are trying to find more resort to sanction, more resort to sanction them for their deficiencies. In this case, two particular difficult situations, incidents in relation to their handling of weapons. Mr. Ben said the deadly shootings were no accident. And then he's quoted here at the bottom and saying, if you are a trained security person and you have a precept, it could not be accidental in the way the incident happened. And the response to save the young man's life was very inadequate. With the other one, it is a bad one. Again, a young person precepted in a security service was allowed to take the gun from one place and assault the sister of his partner, kill her, and then go on to take another gun and go try to perhaps kill himself. Then they say, well, this is not code. That's the end of code. With the number of security firms rapidly increasing in the country, Minister Ben said that there is much work to be done by the Guyana Police Force to ensure that persons issued with precepts are well trained and demonstrate restraint while carrying weapons. He is quoted here saying again, we know that Chinese and other businesses are being targeted, and we are bringing up, and there have been more recent discussions through the Guyana Police Force with the security service providers in relation to discipline, the hours of work, fatigue may be a problem, and generally their readiness and responsible handling of weapons. That is what the Home Affairs Minister is reported to have said. Now, there are several things that came out here I want to point out. The minister is saying that let me read that back. He said the minister said he ordered the weapons in the possession of the two security firms to be seized. The minister has no such authority. Let me make it absolutely clear. The Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, has no legal authority to order the seizure of any weapon. And he said weapon. Firearms I'm talking about, because he repeatedly said weapons and weapons and weapons. And I made a note, Minister Ben, they are firearms. So you order the seizure of these firearms, not weapons, because weapons can be button, weapons can be knives, weapons can be stick, anything can be a weapon. But you have to be more precise in the language order. We're talking there about firearms, whether they are AR rifles or shotgun in the one case. The Minister of Home Affairs has no authority under any law to do what he said that he did. And I made the point to say that this is clearly an operational issue within the purview of the Commissioner of Police, including the acting commissioner, anyone who sits in that chair. I also say, and this is yet another glaring admission by the minister of his interference in the operational activities of the force. There's according to the Garden Mosley News Source report, he is saying that he ordered the police got ordered the seizure of these weapons. And I say here now, in any other or in most other jurisdictions governed by the rule of law, where there's accountability, the minister would have been asked to demit office. He would have been would have been shown the boot. Here it is. Allegations are made about political interference in the Guyana Police Force, which is blatant. These accusations are made. They are denied by the government. Everything said no, they're denying. But here you have the minister admitting interference in the operations of the force. He ordered these weapons to be seized. Under which law? He has no such authority. Absolutely no such authority. And that is part of the problem. Now, you order the firearm from Cerebus and OP to be seized. And let me make it clear that given what transpired, we have said on this program since the inception of this incident that certain steps should have been taken. All the firearms issued to those companies should have been taken away. All. And other steps. And when the minister said, here, let me go. When the minister said, what? In both cases, we require retraining. And the immediate response was the taking away of the weapons. And we are trying to find more resorts to sanction them for their deficiencies. The resorts are in the law. the law said in these cases what should happen. And I'm going to ask Mr. Conway to come and to tell us what the law says when such incidents occur. Mr. Conway, can you please enlighten us about this matter, please?
All we have the Private Security Act. This act was passed on is 32 of 2009, and it passed in Parliament. But Bara Jagdeo, the then president, took 1 year, over a year before he signed it, and he signed it on the 31st of December 2010. Maybe he didn't want it to be, to, he was clearing up Old Year's Day, and he just decided to sign it. But this act here is very, very important, a very important act, and it's an act that regulates the conduct of private security services. And bear with me whilst I'm going to read certain parts of the act. And here is what the act say. Section 3.1. The minister shall, by order, appoint the commissioner of police of the Ghana Police Force to be the controlling authority for the purpose of the act. Let me repeat. The minister shall, by order, appoint the commissioner of police of the Ghana Police Force to be the controlling authority for the purpose of the act. That's section 1. And section 2 said, the minister shall, for the efficient discharge of the functions of the controlling authority under the act, provide the controlling authority with adequate resources. And here is section 4 of the act, talking about the functions of the power of the controlling authority. So they establish that the commissioner of police is the controlling authority. And bear with me whilst I go through some of the powers of the functions of the controlling authority. The controlling authority shall, A, carry out the functions relating to the license and approvals of that are conform on it under this act. B, monitor the activities and effectiveness of private security agency, private security guards, and the supervision of those agencies. C, carry out inspections as it considered necessary in the efficient functioning of the private security agency. D, recommend to the minister the standard of conduct, training, and level of supervision to be adopted by those who carry out the business of providing private security service and those working as private security guards or in this or their superiors. C, E, make recommendation to the minister for the maintenance of standard in private security services. F, keep under review the operation of this act. G, appoint supernumerary constables to function in private security agency in accordance with section 82 of the Police Act. H, arrange for firearm license to be granted to private security agency in accordance with the Firearms Act. And I, set standards for training of supernumerary constables attached to Private Security Act. And 2, this is very important, notwithstanding any provision act, a license shall not be approved, issued, cancelled, revoked, or suspended without the prior express written approval of the minister, and who shall be the licensing authority. Well, we want to go on to talking about the controlling authority. Section 10 is very, very clear. I don't want to go into all of them, but let me read section 10 too, where the controlling authority, for reasons to be recorded in writing, is satisfied that pending the question of cancellation of a license on one or more of the grounds mentioned in subsection 1, it is necessary or expedient to do so. The controlling authority, I'm talking about this, the Commissioner of Police, may, by order in writing, suspend the operation of a license for such a period not exceeding 30 days, as may be specified in the order, and require the license holder to show cause within 15 days from the date of the issue of the order as to why the suspension of the license shall not be extended until the determination of question of suspension. 3, every order of suspension or cancellation of a license shall be in writing and shall specify the reasons for such suspension or cancellation as such cases may be, and a copy of the order shall be communicated to the person. And four, this is very critical. When cancellation or suspension of service occur, the following shall be applied. The private security service, the private security agency shall be ordered by the controlling authority to cease to provide security service. All firearms and ammunition shall be handed over to the Ghana Police Force. All clients shall be informed of the cancellation. All security personnel shall cease to wear uniform. Upon suspension, all processing and training of all personnel shall cease for the period of suspension. And this dealing with cancellation. Upon cancellation, all firearms license shall be revoked. Upon cancellation, all appointment of all supernumerary constables shall be revoked. Upon cancellation, the company shall cease to use emblem and logo. And I want to talk a bit in terms of uniform, because we seen people wearing uniform or not wearing uniform and they're carrying the license. A private security, section 17.1, a private security agency shall issue to every private security guard and every supervisor employed or engaged with a photo identity card with distinct identification number, special uniform, special badge, and cap indicating the logo or emblem of private security agency concerned as approved by the controlling officer. And this one is important. While on duty, every private security guard and supervisor shall wear the uniform and badge given to him and shall display on his person the photo identity card issued under subsection 1 unless otherwise approved by the commissioner of police. So it is clear that first they got to get a uniform approved by the commissioner. And whilst on duty, they must wear the uniform. And apart from wearing the uniform, they must have the badge, photo identity badge display on them. And when a license is suspended, they have the commissioner of police, or the controlling authority shall write that person in writing, the agency in writing, and so the suspension should not be more than a month, and the persons have within 15 days in which to appeal, in which to not appeal, in which to apply, respond to the commissioner of police, giving reasons why the license should not be further extended, the cancellation should not be further extended or cancelled. That is clear. And if there an appeal is to be made, an appeal has got to be made to the minister. So when the minister say take away the license or take away the weapons, that decision would be what we call prejudicial, because they have to appeal to the minister, the same person who said that. So the thing is that the commissioner of police is a person that can ask, that can write and say, hey, your license has been suspended for the first instance, not more than 1 month, and the agency has got to state or give reasons why it should not be further extended or cancelled. So the minister doesn't have a role. It is the commissioner of police and thing. And even when a license is suspended, the police has got to seize those weapons. Not the minister, the police has got to seize those weapons. Seize those weapons. And when it is cancelled, all appointments from the special for the supernumerary council will be cancelled, and all firearms license issued by the commissioner of police must be revoked. But then again, the commissioner had revoked a license or cancel a license, and within a matter of hours, he was ordered to rescind that order. So maybe frightened for really take action. So he waiting on the minister to take an order, which is illegal.
I agree with you fully. I mean, you know, the galling thing is that, as I've said before, the minister is publicly and openly admitting that he's interfering with the operational aspects of the force. And Mr. Conway read part of the law there, and I know that the minister would have um, legal people he can go to. He just saying these nonsense and things just like that, just saying things like that. And then when he says that we are trying to find more resort to sanction them for the deficiencies, what the sanction is there in the law. The law clearly spells out the action to be taken when you have these deficiencies, as he call it. The law is there. And then Mr. Conway spoke about uniform. Again, let me show you somebody, let me show you this and then I'm going to explain it. This you see here is a security guard at some supermarket yesterday, Sunday, the 28th day of April, on some supermarket in East Bank. Someone sent this picture to me, and they said that they were going to the supermarket. And when they saw this guard or this person, they became afraid. They thought it was a bandit. Now, even see the man dressed in this black, has something like a, well, you can't show if it's an AR rifle or some shotguns can look like that. You don't know what you have. But the man got on this black cap. He got on shades. And his face is fully covered. Fully covered. That cannot be, I don't think, an approved uniform from a security company. I hate to think that is an approved uniform. But that is what you have. That is what you have. So I say to the minister, these are the things he should look into. I don't think that the police force would approve such a uniform. Clearly, I don't think he has on any badge as the law requires. But look at this man, you going down the road there to the supermarket, as the person said yesterday, and he saw this person standing there. And he wasn't sure if it was a bandit or what. So he did the best thing, which I commended him for. He turned and he went away. He went away, and I commended him for that, because you do not know. And these are the things I say that they should really look at. This is a scary thing. And I've said this before. You're going to have someday some licensed firearm owner walking down the road, or the police themselves going around some place, and they see somebody like this, and they're going to assume that it is a bandit, and you might have fatal consequences flowing therefrom. So these are some of the things, Minister, you got to look into, or at least instruct that these things be done. This is when I couldn't believe when this thing was sent to me yesterday. I couldn't believe, right? I have seen a lot. People are basically in civilian clothes, and they get AR rifles and all kind of assault rifles, and you see that around, and perhaps you become immune to it. But look at this. Look at this as a supermarket. And Mr. Ben, the minister himself, said, well, we know that Chinese and other businesses are being targeted, and we are bringing up, as there have been more recent discussions through the Guyana Police Force with the security service providers in relation to discipline, the hours of work. What police got to do with the hours of work? Fatigue may be a problem, and generally the readiness and responsible handling of weapons. That is what the minister said. See your comment on this security guard, man. I gotta get what you say about this man in this all over black. Let me put it back up. This man is all over black.
I can't be a security guard, man. For me, it's got to be a bandit, man. It's shocking. But then again, about 2 weeks ago, I went to GRA, and to do some business there, and there was a security, or who's supposed to be a security guard, sitting there in uniform with a big rifle in his hand. That they're not looking at the uniform. And I know what the police doing. Remember, we days that'll come before the August body, and that we have to approve the uniform, and they got to wear the uniform. But this is it's shocking, Paul. This is shocking. And only that, they have a unit that go along and check on them, and up to I think sometime last week, and the standard unit went to a certain location, and the person were in hard, and they say, hey, I give you 2 weeks, and they had to pay 50 grand to put themselves in order. So though the units that they have that is going on, maybe there are reports that that unit is very, very corrupt. That they're seeing these things and they're drawing. They're drawing that Jackie Opel coming into play.
Well, I hope they look into. I hope they look into that. I hope they look into. Let me move on. I'm staying on the Home Affairs beat. I'm staying on the Home Affairs beat. You know, we said, you know, it's not a crystal ball. It's not an obeah man. I'm not a soothsayer. But months ago, I told you all, I reminded you that the Minister of Home Affairs, the same Robeson, had issued an edict saying that the Jamaican dancer artist cannot come to Guyana. He's banned from performing in Guyana. Well, Minister, I have news for you. Let me show you. Let me show you this before I comment on this. I have news for you, Minister Ben. Let me show you this. Yeah, Minister Ben. Yeah, tell Minister Ben, that was skank Friday night at Retrieve Ground Linden. You see the crowd? So he did say afterwards that he could come and he could perform, he could behave bad privately, but not at any public function. That is the same artist that the minister banned from performing in Guyana. Friday night, the man performed at Retrieve Ground in Linden to what appears to be hundreds, perhaps even thousands of spectators. The minister has no credibility, absolutely none. None. And if I were you, minister, I would have chucked in the face of this. This would have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Because you said publicly on more than one occasion, this man can't perform in Guyana because of this show. Yeah, I think it was in 2022 at the National Park in Georgetown, where a lot of lawlessness took place. And you said, I have the news items and so on, that this man cannot perform. And when confronted a few weeks ago or months ago, you said that he could come and he could behave bad privately. That is your choice of words. Behave bad privately in some club, but he can't do any public show. And this, what I just showed you, is clearly a public show Friday last at Retrieve, the 27th at Retrieve. And I say, Minister, whatever little credibility you would have had, gone through the window. Gone through, because here it is again, you make big pronouncement, public pronouncement. And I have said before that you only just start. You have no clout, you have no power to intervene and to do anything. And this is a clear example of that. The man come, the man perform, and the man I don't know if he gone right? So imagine you're on record as saying that this thing can't take place, this man can't perform, the man come and the man perform. And I'm saying here too, this perhaps you'd want to make a public statement. You would want to make a public statement as to why this show went on. And this is not a case whether this show, Friday night show, had any issues or incidents and so on. That is not the question here. The question is, you made a statement that this show, this man, this artist, Kench, cannot perform in Guyana again. And then you modify that, and you said that he could perform in private club, but he can't perform in public. And we did tell you that even if you perform any place private, once the public has access, is a public event. And here it is, as I just showed, Friday night last, the man performed at Retrieve Ground, a public place in Linden. So in defiance of your order, your so-called order, this show went on. You know, I say, again, I say, Minister can only talk. He has absolutely no power. The men who run in the show said from the outset, that is just talky talk. He can't stop this. The organizers were alleged to have made that comment. that Ben has no authority to prevent them from bringing sketch and let this show go on. Mr. Conway, let me hear your views on this, man.
Well, maybe you must get a little obvious in you, man, because I believe it's crystal ball. I remember you said once before that hey, this thing will go on and Ben can stop it. And even the headquarters supported that show because they right now they have a course with 8 deputy superintendents on it, and they call it a senior officer course. I know senior officers from superintendent, but there are 8 deputy superintendents on a course, and they send them to London for the course for the show. They send them in they had to go in uniform. They had a bus. A bus took them up there so that they had to provide support and security for the show. And those have been in that cloud. I remember the president saying that with the RAS report that they're gonna make public. The president said that it will be made public, and Ben said no. He said no, it is confidential. So he get clout. He could disobey president order, but he didn't get clout for other things, man.
Well said. And the next thing from this show, let me tell you, this society we live in, and some people want to know why we, people say we bashing. We don't bash. We highlight these things. You could call it bashing. I don't call it bashing because we teach all the time. And we highlight issues that others are fearful of highlighting. And in the same, following the same show, I had a good laugh yesterday, Sunday, when I read the release on the police to say that the police reporting that scissors, penknives, screwdrivers, among other items were seized at this show. Police reporting that penknives, right? They say the police reporting that scissors, penknife, and screwdriver among other items. And then they go on to say, these items were photographed and lodged at Mackenzie Police Station. So you ask the question, what for? Why you photograph them and lodge them at the police station? And then I ask again, was there any arrest? Was there any arrest? And you want to know arrest for what? You must check the law, and there's a section dealing with carrying an offensive weapon. Carrying an offensive weapon. And every time you have these shows, people are there with scissors, people are there with knives, people are there with screwdrivers and all of these things. And the corporate propaganda unit will take pictures, tell you that pictures, these items are photographs and lodged. Why are you photographing them and lodging them when no one has been arrested? They would be of no evidential value. You don't intend to go to court with any matter. So why are you photographing them and lodging them at the station? Perhaps they would want to answer that. And again, I say, offensive weapon, perhaps they would want to research, because I would think, especially a man with a screwdriver and people with a knife going into these shows, should be charged for carrying offensive weapons. Not lighter. Lighter is not an offensive weapon. But people get knives and other weapons that are clearly offensive weapons, and all you're doing is taking them from the people, taking out photograph, wasting resources to take out photograph and lodge them at the station. And again, I want to ask, one day the offense of being in possession of a offensive weapon is still on the books. Mr. Conway, is that still an offensive weapon?
I know the reason say that part of the definition is things made or adopted, or you use them and it becomes offensive. It's still in the books. But as you mentioned, what is the use of? Why are you going to photograph them when there's no evidential value? No evidential value. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was charged for anything. What we're really doing, man? You're making a mockery of the thing and then misuse of the scarce resources that we have.
Offensive weapon, as a definition I know good too. An offensive weapon is a weapon made or adapted for causing injury to a person and intended by such person having it with him for such use by him. Oh Lord, I remember them definitions, man. Offensive weapon, a weapon made or adapted. Made or adapted for causing injury to the person intended by such person having it with him for such use by him. So maybe they don't know. So you're seizing these things from people and you're wasting resources to say you're photographing them and you're lodging them at the station. What for? What for? Now let me move on. They got another matter. I'm gonna show you a video, and then we're gonna discuss this video on the other side of this program. Let me show you this video first, and then we are going to discuss it. Here goes. It's about 4 minutes. So bear with me. Here it is.
Brad now come here. She vehicle in commerce here.
No.
Now she vehicle pull up, right? Go. There's everything for start. She vehicle now pull up here. The she vehicle come there. She go close up to the man vehicle.
Black,
right?
yeah.
Or the man there. See the man window, not name brake, right? Not name brake on the man vehicle. Man go on there. Man go back in the yard for something. Man go inside with my key. Wait. I'll zoom it in a little bit on left foot. See the man mirror down, put the car over there. You can see it from the video. The man mirror down. So it's not like the man can't mirror the man window break or none before, so she can't lie and tell nobody none. The man go inside and the man come on back. You want to she know that the camera, so she want to lie and all the man knock she in this and done and stuff. She best find back the man morning jewelry went in the bag.
Good, the man didn't buy me asking me for a phone, because I tell me a phone.
Watch she come out there. She gone, she breaking off the man mirror, watch. She ain't getting them to come off. Wrenching off the man mirror. She wrench, pull off the man mirror then Sean. The she car, or the man wiper blade. Broke the man wiper blade, broke the man mirror. Just so she saying come out she car.
Why you should just pull everything off?
Me know this must be she car, but
She saying no, what she doing? She saying she pay for that's what she saying.
Like you're 100% sure.
No, when I be telling me she is you lady care and thing, I say well, then good. She can start a kick. What? She can start a kick the lights them. She put him near them in the car. What?
kick the light, broke the light.
Yeah, she can't get it. What she gonna pick up the brake? Blam, blam,
Broke the man light.
blam,
Broke the man out of light.
blam.
Steady, she's telling the man she's a police and nobody can do nothing.
Blam.
Broke the man window. Broke up the man car. She no
What she
video
rest
get
the brake
checked.
on top. She rest the brake on top.
The man dey inside. What the man dey inside? What?
Yeah.
Man dey inside and the man telling she nothing. The man slow she for do she can follow.
Then she gonna come out back.
Thief the man back with the money and the jewelry and everything within the man
She got
bag.
in there now. She got in there with the man bag and
Everything the
and
man
the
say
brake, and the brake
in the bag.
and the brake. She pick up the brake too. That's the vehicle, the Muslim man. The man is stopped back. She done, then the man drive back. Then Mark and pass and he can call Mark for give for get a phone call. That's how come Mark get for call. That's how come he call him up and tell him what to call back. Watch, Mark pass here and he call Mark.
She come out and take all the thing after.
You see she come out of just now, yeah. You see she come out and go in the car and take out and wrap up shit and telling you now we got now you got something to do.
So she gonna handle the man actually.
Okay, but if you nothing like fucking violence, watch.
She
She
gone
got
now.
in the car back now and take out.
Take with the man bag, yes. Yeah, carry this to the police.
She can't be
If the police you know nothing, you go to the commando.
Marcus will give you the phone call, watch Mark and him by me there. Just how come you get the phone call. Come in a phone.
She roll off long after.
No. She there when the man called the mother, the man go down there and she still went out there. Long after she there. Then when he made the call and he realized she get the call, she divorced and drive off.
Folks, I think you have seen enough. You have a few more seconds, but I think you have seen enough. I don't know what to say about what I just saw. That video that you saw there just now, it is being said that the woman that you saw damaging that car is a member of the Guyana police force. That is what is being said. She is a member of the Guyana police force behaving in such a disgraceful, lawless and disgraceful manner. I mean, a lot is being said. Who owns the ownership of the car and all of that. I am saying that such a display, such an unlawful display in public by a member of the Guyana police force warrants the strongest sanction. Let me repeat that. I am saying that such a display by a member of the Guyana police force, if in fact that person is a member of the Guyana police force, warrants the strongest sanction. And as far as I know, the strongest sanction in the Guyana police force under the Police Discipline Act is dismissal from the force. This is clearly bringing the force into disrepute. Some have said that the person claims that the car belongs to them. It's she car, she might have bought the car. Even so. So therefore, you might not get a charge of malicious damage to property, because if the property is yours, I don't think you can be charged with damaging it. But such a display in public, I am talking here about a thorough, this requires a proper investigation. And I'm saying this further, that while such an investigation is going on, that person should be suspended from duty. In other words, that person should not be made to perform duty in the police force for another second. They should be suspended. And let me tell the extended squatter, when we talk about suspension, we not talk about interdiction. The law says that if a person is charged, either criminally or departmentally, they can be interdicted from duty pending the outcome of the charge. But there's also a case where the person can be suspended. And if you all don't know what that is, check the case of Dookie. Can't remember what was his first name. Dookie versus the Commissioner of Police and the Police Service Commission. There's a recent case, sometime around 2017 thereabout, where the court ruled that a police officer who's facing investigation can be suspended if it's from inspector to assistant commissioner by the Police Service Commission, and if it is below by the Commissioner of Police. That is what the court ruled. Justice Corbin, I think it was, ruled in that matter. And a matter like this, even if, and again, there's a presumption of innocence, and therefore you have to conduct an investigation. But I'm saying that while such an investigation is being conducted, the person ought to be suspended from duty while that investigation is going on. And to make matters worse, I am being told that this might be an ongoing saga between this woman and the victim, and that the victim was able to get a restraining order from the court. But if that is so, if this victim, this man who drove the car and put an thing there, Apparently, they're saying that they have or had some relationship. If the person managed, if a restraining order was enforced when this action goes on, that makes it even worse. That makes it even worse. And we should call on the acting commissioner of police, the extended squatter, to say something to the public about this incident. Another incident that greatly affects the image, what little respectability, what little image the force has. These things are eroded by these incidents. And the commissioner, the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, owe it to the other members of the force, owe it to the public to come with some plausible or some explanation as to what transpired and what action is being taken. Again, I say the people are saying that this thing, I couldn't believe it. When this thing was sent to me, and it has been circulating now on social media, I look at the tape, and it's still when the guys start to say that there's a policewoman and all of that. I said, whoa, policewoman behaving in that manner? And then it was confirmed to me by members of the force. I have a picture with her, with this woman in uniform and all of that. I'm not going to show that. But I am saying that such conduct in the public warrants the strongest action. Warrants the strong. Let me bring Mr. Conway for Mr. Conway to obviously. This thing is very upsetting to see a serving member of the Guyana Police Force behaving in this manner. Is very, very disturbing, even to a former member of the force. CC, let me hear what is your take on what you just saw.
I read Justice Corbin's ruling, in the Duki matter, and it's clear. If it's inspector to assistant commissioner, police service commission, constable to sergeant, the whoever is the commissioner, and I'll go back to Bill Clinton's word that the thing must be, the action gotta be swift, it's gotta be certain, and it's gotta be appropriate. I repeat, swift, certain, and appropriate. And I don't doubt you that a policewoman involved. But then if we have reports where they're saying the son of the commissioner of police had an illegal weapon and abused people and nothing was done, they didn't debunk the story, no real action was taken, so I don't know. That what's going on is really unbelievable. Here is it, a policewoman with such display, and nothing is being said, no action be taken. It is not swift, it is not certain, and it's not appropriate. God help the Guyana Police Force.
And I'm saying this incident like this, the police have embarked on this public relation stunt. I call them stunts. They're walking out of the place, they're meeting people. Yeah, that perhaps is good to go and to interact with the communities that you serve and to try to project this professional image and so on. Yeah, I have nothing against that. But when incident like the one that we just showed occurred, and there is no proper explanation as to what action you intend to take, and don't tell me like you would normally do, because if the police, I suspect that if enough questions are asked, the police is going to come and tell you that, oh, OPR will investigate. That is a default position, OPR will investigate. Well, yes, but we're saying while this investigation is going on, this person should be suspended from duty. And, again, just to show this animal farm, there are recent cases where people have done less than that and have been summarily, unconstitutionally dismissed from the force by the extended squatter. I refer to the 3 ranks in Barbies who were dismissed summarily because an officer misplaced his firearm. And the poor 3 constables, nothing happened to the officer, Nothing happened to the officer. Well, at the time, there was no police service commission, but since the police service commission was installed, enacted, or whatever the thing, nothing has happened to the officer as far as I'm aware. But the 3 constables were dismissed summarily. There are many other cases where persons are charged, and rather than them being benefiting from the presumption of innocence as guaranteed by the Constitution, the people are dismissed. Now you have this terrible case, and you're not even telling us, the members of the public, what you intend to do. What you intend to do with this matter. This is a most disgraceful a most disgraceful act. And we say again, it's act like these. You go and do all the PR that you want to do, all the PR. Go all over the place, meet with people, share out amper, as they did over the weekend in Bobby's. All these PR things. Incidents like these will erode whatever goodwill the public may have towards the police force, unless and until you deal with it in a very swift and condign manner. And here, again, we're not saying that you should deny anyone their rights. We are not advocating for that. You have been doing that. We are not advocating. We know there is, with the rule of law, we know there's a presumption of innocence, and we know a certain process must be followed. And we're saying that as part of that process, this person, if indeed the person is a member of the force, should be suspended pending the investigation. And if it is that the person is charged either criminally or departmentally, they should be interdicted from duty pending the outcome of the charge. And again, I am making the distinction because some of y'all don't read. Some of y'all don't read. I am making a clear distinction between suspension from duty and interdiction from duty. And again, I say, just in case you don't know the difference, read the ruling of Justice Carbin in the Dookie case. Very informative. And these are things that should be in the police library, these rulings in these matters. The ruling in the Police Service Commission matter that I start off this program with should be in the police library. The ruling of Justice Carbin in that Dookie matter should be in the police library so that people can go and police officers in all ranks can read and be guided and be informed about these matters, because these are legal precedents. But we have people there sitting down, they're reading. Some of them are more involved in more criminal activities than some of the criminal, like money laundering and all of that. Another thing, allegation that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million through the police credit union, and not a word from the police administration. Either to debunk, that's the word I like to use, either to debunk or to say what is going on. Not a word from the Chief Cooperative Development Officer who came out from under a rock to intervene in a matter that was before the court with the Guyana Public Service Union Credit Union. He come out from under the rock to tell them they mustn't perform until they provide certain information to him. Of course, the judge ruled that he had no such authority. But one would have thought that he has the authority based on the allegation that is being made that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million through the police credit union. One would have thought that the Chief Cooperative Development Officer would have jumped up. If he had gone back under the rock, he should come out from under the rock. And you know, my investigation, these things are very instructive. My investigation into the police credit union scandal with this money laundering thing, I asked, because I know I was a member of the police credit union for a number of years. When I joined the force, as a matter of fact, I can tell you this, when we joined the force, it was almost automatic. You had to sign up to be a member of the police credit union and a member of the police co-op, consumers co-op, right? You have to sign up. And when you're a recruit, you resist the thing and so on. But then later on, you come to realize it's a good thing. You realize it's a good thing. So I have to sign up. And I know that there's a committee that they call Loans Committee. So I was making some inquiries only last week as to who are the members of the Loans Committee. That is a committee from the police credit union tasked with the responsibility of approving loans to members. So I asked for the members, and it will shock you. It did not shock me. Very little will surprise or shock me. It will shock you as to who those persons are. It will shock you as to who those persons are. I'm not going to reveal who they are. I'm not going to reveal, but do your work and find out who those persons are. who are there on the loans committee, tasked with the responsibility of giving loans to members of the force. And members of the credit union. And members have been complaining in recent times that when they make the application for monies, either it is reduced or it is denied altogether. That is what they're saying. They make an application for what is considered a small sum of money, perhaps $50, $60, $100,000. They either reduce it or they deny them altogether, right? Altogether, they deny them these loans. So this is what we have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to make his comment again, and then I'm going to move on to another issue if you seek to wind down. CC?
I like you. I wouldn't call the names of the members of the loans committee, but let me use the term. What they're doing, they're behaving like the government. They're effing up friends, families, and favorites. Those are members of the committee. Effing up friends, families, and favorites. And I'm going to stop there.
Well, let me say this. I mean, I don't know if it's public information, self. I don't think it is public information, so I ain't going to share it yet. When it is public, I'm going to share. This information was given to me, and I'm not sure it is public information. But one of the persons there is alleged to have been involved in dishonest act years ago. A person who is at the on the loans committee of the police credit union was years ago involved in a dishonest act. Another one is alleged to be involved in several dishonest acts, and they are there on the loans committee. And let me repeat that, because I said things that I could back up. One had allegations of dishonesty, several allegations against one of dishonest acts, and one was involved in a dishonest act years ago and was removed from a certain department. Now they are those two are part of a 3-member loans committee of the police credit union. And old people say you shouldn't put cat for watch milk, but that's exactly what's going on. They're putting cat to watch milk. So no wonder allegation can be made that the allegation can be made that money laundering taking place at this place. You got crooks, what you expect. Lennox, no, that is not the person. I see Lennox, I'll clarify, because Lennox put up a name, they say, he put it up so I could mention it. He put up say Superintendent King. No, it's not Superintendent King. Now you understand this thing clearly. It's not Superintendent King. He's not the person. He's not there. He retired, I know. He's not there. And the loans committee. So let me clarify that. Now let me move on. As we wind up CC, this place, guys, is not a real place. I saw something recently. I'm talking here about the new Denhamstel police station. You talk about corruption. I mean, that if you every day you pick up the paper now, they talk about the National Tender Board with the Tipui contract and the Bamia school contract. There's only too many. The Denhamstel police station, it is being said. Let me get the figure here. That when they bid for the repair, or not repair, the reform, a new station, I think, when the bid was open, the person who tendered $84 million won the bid to build or repair whatever it is, the Denhamstel police station. $84 million Guyana dollars. Would you believe that I saw over the weekend where the contractor is now requesting a further $94 million to do this project? So you had a case where the bid was $84 million and the contractor won the bid, $84 million. Now the contractor requesting, according to the report, $94 million, even more than what was originally the bid to do this project. I can't understand what is going on. That seems to me to be corruption. without going forward into it, if there's a bid for a contract and the bid is $84,000, how can you now be requesting more than the original bid? How can you request now $94 million? Something is definitely wrong. You had the case with the Bamia, what we talk about, the Bamia school. I think it was 346 million originally. They missed deadline. I think there was another deadline last week that they missed. And then a further 127 million or something like that was given to these people. This thing reeks of corruption. And when the UN body the other day talk about corruption, and when other commentators talk about corruption, they like to run and they say, oh, no, there's no corruption. But the evidence is there. The evidence is there. You bid 84 million. The contract is awarded to you. And now you want another 94 million. Let's take it right, boss. You see something got to be wrong, buddy. See, I mean, you know maths. I have no maths, but something on the face of it, something seems definitely wrong with that, man. What are your views?
It could not have been variation of contract because one was 84 and now we're going to 94. It gotta be cold-blooded corruption, man. Cold-blooded corruption. This is not variation of contract. It is corruption, buddy.
Variation, clear. Corruption. And again, I say, over the past couple of days or weeks, a lot of people in the on media and so on talking about the tender board and the process. God, the question is asked, how come some entertainers can get a contract shortly after they establish a company for 300 and something million dollars? The next man get a contract for close to $1 billion. And now we're hearing about this Denham Cell thing. And those are only a few. But let me move on. Let me close. Let me close off here now. Somebody asking about Caesar. Superintendent Caesar, the man who was pulled in by the feds in the US and questioned extensively. I don't know what has happened. The police have not said anything. Whether he has resumed, I asked the question several times. Has he resumed duty? No, they have not said anything. Whether he resumed, what he was questioned about, and all of that. They have not said. I don't expect them to say anything either. But I continue to caution them. Again, I know your man, but caution. Well, let me don't say caution. I am saying that if I were in your position, I used to be a member of commander. Caesar worked with me in a division. And if I were a commander and you had to come into my office to make any report or to do anything, you got to come with the bare buckler. No clothes, no shoe. Matter of fact, I didn't even want to get on. If you get afro and thing on the hair, no, you got to go to the barber. Come with a Yule briner. Do you know what is a Yule briner, these younger folks? They might not know. A Yule briner is Shinehead, a ball head, what we call ball head. Another ball head we bought from Linden, who's on this show. You got to come with a Yule briner. No hair on your head. You got to come with a buckler. And this buckler we're talking about got to be a Speedo. Very, very thin. No shoes on your feet. And you got to pass through a metal detector. You got to pass through CT scan. You got to pass through X-ray before you come into my office. Not me. I didn't take no chance. But having said that, if you all want to take chance, it's up to y'all. If you all want to take chance and don't listen to the message because of who the messenger is, y'all go ahead. But yes, the man who's asking, we haven't heard anything else about the position with Caesar, whether he has resumed the duty, whether he's still the head of the major crime unit. Nothing has been said. So therefore, we are kept in the dark. CC, your man is saying, have you heard anything about the officer's resumption?
Nothing at all. Just as how I haven't heard if the guy from Borbies who was charged according to the written submission of the commission, who was charged last year on the 31st of June for sexual offense, and then there are 3 from East Coast where it took nearly a month from the time the DPP had given advice for them to be charged. They were charged. There's no publication. There's nothing. And we don't know whether they were interdicted, whether they went from Borbis 31st of June charged with sexual offense. We don't know if he was interdicted. And then the other three, the three, a lance corporal and two constables from East Coast who were charged. We don't know whether they were interdicted. So other things I haven't heard about, and I know anything about Caesar.
Well, maybe they're going to tell us something at some stage, or you're going to see his name appear that he dealing with some matter or something like that. Now, in closing, let me say this. When I announced the program, I did say that we're going to talk about the continued carnage on the road. We're going to deal with that on Wednesday, because the time has caught up with us. But let me say, last week, Wednesday to now, there are 3 other fatalities. One, like I said, is an incident that occurred yesterday where a man rode into some tree and killed himself. And then a few days before that, I think it was Saturday, early Saturday morning, a pill and rider and the rider of the motorcycle crashed into some lamppost, and both of them were killed. And I say this, it is going to continue. And this is not something that I'm wishing for, but I'm saying unless proper action is taken by the government. And let me say, this is not a policing matter now, friend. This thing has gone to proportions way beyond what the police can deal with. Because police deal with law enforcement. I see people calling for police, but traffic light and marking road. There's not police function. Police is law enforcement in the main. Not even education is not part of the policing function. But it will continue, and therefore on Wednesday, we're going to deal with that and others. I am aware that Wednesday is a public holiday in Guyana in respect of Labor Day, 1st of May 2024, but we're going to have classes on that day. We are going to have classes on Labor Day, so no time off, not for you students, no time off. Folks, we have had a full morning. It's about 2 hours already, and we don't want to go beyond this. So to say to you, thanks for your attendance in class today. The numbers were outstanding as usual. And all I would say, God's willing, God's spare life. On Wednesday, the 1st of May at 11 o'clock, you're going to see us here. We're going to all be here in class for another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, have a good day. Bye.